Imagine you're a sea captain in the 1800s. Life is good. Peak, if you will. Mer bitches be hollering at you and shit, and then suddenly, one wrong turn leads you to become a slave in a foreign land, where you must bribe your way to freedom, and then somehow become one of the most influential people in American history. Today we're talking about James Riley, one of the greatest comeback stories of all time. So James Riley was born in Middletown, Connecticut on October 27th, 1777. He was born into an agricultural family, which he didn't like very much. He always dreamed of being at sea. So at age 15, he was like, bye mom and dad, I'm gonna go get on a random ship now and sail across the world. And they were just like, okay, see ya. I don't know how that works, but cool, I guess. And over the next 5 years, Riley worked his way up through the ranks and eventually became a flickin' captain of his own ship. Now at 20 years old, he was young, dumb, and full of but he was a great captain until one fateful trick that would change his life forever. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that now. So James and his crew departed from Connecticut for the Cape Verde Islands in August of 1815. Little did they know they were about to get absolutely destroyed. Unfortunately, James and his crew ran into some very heavy fog off the coast of the Western Sahara. They ended up crashing their ship into a reef and had no choice but to use lifeboats and just paddle to the shore. So now they're just chilling on the beach and, they see some people running up on them. And they're like, the fuck? So these people were known as the Sahrawi nomads. And I'm pretty sure they weren't happy about a bunch of white dudes just kind of like washing up on the coast of their land. So they just start stealing all the crew's stuff. Now, James and the other 11 men are down horrendous. They have no food, no water, no mer bitches. So they're like, we're not fighting in this condition. We either gotta make peace or we gotta GTFO. So one of Riley's men, Antonio Michel, has the bright idea of walking up to them with a peace offering. Just brings them a bunch of money. I don't know what they were gonna do with that, but yeah, he got stabbed immediately. So James and his men see this from afar and they're like, yeah, we should probably leave now. So they dip in that boof-at lifeboat that's on its last limb, and for 9 days with no food, no water, no bitches, they attempt to find somewhere safe that they can touch down at. Now they must have been so delusional because they somehow ended up in the exact same place as they were before. So they hop off the lifeboat, and Riley was not ready to give up on life just yet, so he convinced the nomads to enslave him and his men. What a treat. So after the crew finished their onboarding process at their new job, the nomads made them trek 800 miles across the desert with no food, no water, and well, I guess technically they had water. They were forced to drink camel's urine, which I've heard is actually pretty delicious. Not that I would know from like personal experience or anything, but anyway, you're probably wondering why would they make these dudes trek across the Sahara and why would they go with them? Well, in this area of the world, it was pretty common for slaves to be of every background and their masters to be from every background too. There was really no discrimination. They were mad inclusive. Now, this also made slavery a hot commodity in these lands, and Riley started to pick up that these men were taking them somewhere to be sold. They were keeping them alive, although barely, for a reason. Now, this is where things get a little crazy. So James started to pick up on their language and actually became pretty close with one of the masters named Sidi Hamet. And he convinced him that if he can get him to a place called Mogador, in modern-day Morocco, then he could contact his friend to pay a large sum of money for his release. So good thing is they were almost at Mogador. Bad thing is Riley was completely capping, dude. He had no friends in Mogador. I don't even know how this guy believes that, to be honest. But over the course of this 3-month journey, Riley, who was originally 240 pounds, shriveled down to a mere 90. So after they finally arrive in a small city located outside of Mogador, Riley's master allows him to write to his friend in order to facilitate a proper transaction. And in the letter, James Riley basically writes, hey, can anyone help my brother out? And somehow it worked. A man named William Wilshire, dope name by the way, received the letter and made it his priority to get James and his men free at once. He even posed as James' long-lost friend to ensure that the plan would work. So after receiving the letter, he rode out to the town to meet the men and was shocked that they were even alive after seeing the state that they were in, and the fact that there were no bit. Anyway, so he paid their captors and embraced Riley as they all rode off into the sunset and lived happily ever after. But wait, there's more. Riley ended up going back to the States and writing a novel on his findings and how it changed his perspective on slavery. The novel was called Sufferings in Africa, and it went on to inspire one of the most influential people in American history. It's Abraham freaking Lincoln, by the way. He read the book and really liked it and said, damn, slavery is kind of messed up, guys. We should probably stop doing that. And then everybody lived happily ever after. After the Civil War, and everyone died. But this is such a crazy story because it shows how the worst thing imaginable happening to a man can blossom into something that can change the world. So if you guys are ever going through anything as bad as this, which hopefully you're not, dude, this shit sucks. But chances are your hardships, your story can alter the lives of others and really make a difference. So just think about that. And make sure to tell this story to someone you might have a crush on to see if they like you or if they think you're autistic. You're welcome for that. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment something you're surprised you lived through. See you guys in the next one.